How are you doing, good sir?
Yo, what it do? What it do?
Well,
Sorry.
what's up, everybody? Welcome to Ink Tank episode number 20. That means we've been doing these things for 5 months now.
20 whole weeks. Maybe more.
So,
to be fair.
And I'm sure we haven't missed one episode, to be fair.
I mean, are we?
It's inevitable. I don't know. We can't check the chain for that yet.
Yet.
Keyword yet. We're also streaming live on YouTube. We're streaming on X. Would I be correct?
We are.
So we are trimulcasting as we are here on Twitter Spaces. But as you guys know, Ink Tank is a community-led Twitter space. So if you'd like to join the conversation, make any comments, shoot the shit, feel free to just request up. If not, we'll keep you occupied for the next hour. I didn't have like a lot of specific talking points that I wanted to bring up, but I saw this tweet graze my timeline like 15 minutes ago, and I had to I had to open the space.
Hot off the press. All right, let's do it.
Yeah, so it was 8270, and he goes, Web3 used to be an escape from reality for me. Now IRL has been my escape from Web3.
Ooh, the spice.
Yeah.
Spice is nice.
I kind of felt that one, and I think everybody's entitled to their own perspective on it. I could at least say close to our realm, there's, animosity or people are stressed, even though number is going up. Maybe not on the Doodles floor price, but like the charts are looking, I'm seeing some hard on green ones.
Wait, but didn't you hear that? Didn't you hear that the bull market was over yesterday? Didn't you hear?
Oh yeah, the bear's back.
Yeah,
bulls are fucked.
4% down. Get fucked. Leverage liquidations.
I guess unless you are holding Celestia or Prime or AVAX. AVAX shitcoin season's going pretty hard.
It always was Prime, wasn't it?
It was always Prime.
It was always Prime.
Aton, GM, what's good, sir?
What's going on, GM? I think the bull market ended as soon as we all got back from Basel, looked at our credit card statements, and saw that they spent all that money on Ubers and Lyft, and was like, fuck it.
We should have known, right? That we know that the market has to go down during conferences. This is like we don't make the rules. The market was going up during a conference. We had to know what was coming. We should have known.
I mean, I just pinned up to the tweet. I think it was the top signal of the shortest bull market in history. I think it was you, Aton, that marked the top when you bought the whole row on your flight to Miami. Just so there was no like way. One seat for like your stickers, and then what was the other one? Just to say, because why not? So you didn't have to sit next to somebody, or what?
All right, I'm not loaded by any means. I'm just pre-rich. I'm pre-rich.
And acting like it. That's
so
all good.
Happened that this flight on Spirit, so I'm broke as fuck, had a capacity of 240 people, but only 100 people showed up.
Yeah, you're basically flying private.
Yeah, at that point it was private. So we put like the seats up and just did my thing.
There was no better feeling.
What about the Suburban that picked you up on the tarmac? Was that extra, or was that like built into the like buy two seats, get the
Spirit does
ride
offer
back
that
free
for an extra $3,000? To be fair,
it's like you get to pick a snack or the Uber Black back to your hotel.
You get a carry-on or a Lincoln Town car. These are your options. They're the same price, actually.
If I created a ride service or an airliner, I would put some kind of like absurd tier levels in it like that, just for comic, like just for the giggles.
When you're a kid and you're growing up and you got to like load up on the tarmac, you felt like a baller. You're like, this is sick. And then you get older and you're like, I'm a fucking pleb. The roles get reversed.
That's true. Yeah.
Such is life.
So there wasn't any official Doodles presence at Art Basel, but I do know you linked up with some OGs. I saw you on a boat with Terps and Varun.
Yeah, what bear market, dude?
What bear market, to be honest?
So there's actually a few moments during my time Basel where I saw a lot of cool doodles. I mean, Bathtub is down there. Shout out Bathtub, he's down in the
G Mullet.
So freaking, we just got on a boat. It was behind like the Rug Radio House, right? Where like Pharaoh doing their thing. And then FOMO just had like a boat that was docked because he's from there.
Just had a boat.
And he just had a boat, casual boat that was docked there. They let him dock it there. So on Saturday, we just fired up a grill, got a bunch of bottles, and, we had an IRL ink tank. No pun intended.
Dude, Varun was having himself a good old time.
IRL events, IRL bells. I love that.
Shout out Frankie. Frankie dudes was on there too. So we had a bunch of dudes on there.
That's awesome.
It's really cool to see Miami from that perspective while you're on the water, seeing some mega yachts, like the beautiful houses. So it's a really nice touch.
Yeah, I just got to give the call out. FOMO is an absolute G. Like if there's like a person that understands like Doodles hospitality, it's FOMO. Just good dude. He hooked us up. We were mobbing in the Jeep in Chicago.
We were vibing.
Mm-hmm. And the last Art Basel, we went to like Morimoto's restaurant with like his friend from like 25 years back, and I like had to tap out. I ate so much food.
And
like I could not.
And FOMO shows up. FOMO shows up to the activation. He's like, "What FUD?" He's like, "Is there FUD?" I don't know. I'm just cooking meats over here, like, and coming to these activations. Great.
Yeah.
I will also say that we all linked up at the Cool Man's Universe. They had an event too. Which, side note, we got free Crocs. I got free Crocs.
What?
Stop.
You got wearing Crocs. As a non-holder, you got free Crocs?
No, I'm a special guy. I'm a special.
Oh, you
special?
Well, all right.
I'm a special, long-time holder.
Nice.
So they had the pop-up. And then a lot of dude holders were there. I got to meet MP9X. This guy is
Marcelo.
He's cool. There's no. Yeah.
He's a boss.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Eitan, can I ask you a question about the Crocs?
Just one?
I mean, maybe there's a line of questioning. We'll see. We'll see what evolves. But
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I was in the comments as I do. For one of Cool Man Coffee Dan. Yeah, sorry, that's his name. Cool Man Coffee Dan posted a tweet, and it was like I imagine this is what it's like to be a Doodles holder, getting flack from people outside the community. Because I was like, oh, is this a Cool Man's Crocs collab or a CMU, Cool Man's Universe Crocs collab? And I was just genuinely asking. And then someone in the comments replied, and they're like, I don't care. I'm just, I've been here for the community. And I was like, my brother, like, I'm just asking. I just want to know who's it a collab with. I'm not coming at your community. And so as a longtime holder for you, like, what was your read on it? Was it a CMU collab or Cool Man? And if either, does it matter which one? I don't know. What's your kind of take as a long-term holder?
I saw a lot of aspects of the project. There's like Dino World, donuts. So like there was like some dino, some like I don't know what the word is, like props, some like donut stuff. Let me check my photo roll. I think there was like a word, like maybe like a big where people could take pictures. I think it might have said Cool Man's. I could be mistaken.
Not that it's incredibly important, I guess. I just more was like, I was just asking for clarification because he quite literally shares the name of the project. It would be more clear, like in our sense, if like Burnt Toast did a collab with Crocs. It'd be like, oh, that's a BT collab. Of course, people would probably still FUD, but it's all good. But it would just be more clear as opposed to this. I was like, so what is it exactly? So I was just a little curious.
Looking at the picture, it says Crocs X Cool Man, not like Cool Man Universe. So it's, I think it's the project.
I mean, yeah, because to be fair, like, while I guess his moniker is Cool Man Coffee Dan, but like that's definitely not his. If it was Dan
times Crocs,
then I think it would be him. But I guess like he gave the cloud to the project, which is nice.
Yeah. Well, and I guess to your point, like even if it was just a collab between him as an artist, because he used that kind of like he has a different version of a spesh that he's been rocking in some of his more recent art, which was featured on the collab. Even if it was a collab with just him, sounds like he gave free Crocs to CMU holders. So that's pretty cool. I would actually
utility.
I would actually say that's kind of like more sick to be honest. So it's pretty cool.
You want to get even sicker lifts? Listen to this.
Tell me, brother.
He signed everybody's Crocs. So if you had like a Sharpie and he was just like...
Wait. They had the Crocs on site too?
Yeah, Crocs are on site, man. It was on site. Like there's like a separate room with like
riddle me this
with G Beats. I got free G Beats. Like
riddle me this.
Oh, the gibbets on deck.
I was like, what's a G Beats, dude? I thought it was like Beats headphones. I was like, damn, they're fucking hooking you up.
How do you pronounce them on the car? The G Beats?
I've always said it gibbets. Maybe this is like a GIF kind of situation, but I kind of like
Yes, it is.
Okay, so riddle me this, Eitan. I went to LA Complex Con. I wore my Crocs, hung out with Burnt Toast for a good minute. Didn't get him signed. Why did I do this? Tell me why I'm a fucking idiot.
Did you have a Sharpie with you?
There was a signing. There was quite a literal poster signing that happened while I was there.
I mean, fun fact. I think last Basel, like Doodle Putt, I had a Sharpie, and no one had one. I had a Sharpie. I didn't get my Sharpie back the rest of my night, so you just got to be careful.
So maybe what you're saying is an interesting business model would be to sell Sharpies in real life events.
Yeah, it's like being the point man in prison. That's a strange analogy, but we'll move on. But I did get a signed poster at Complex Con, so it's not a total loss. And it was customized. BT wrote dude lifts, put a little headband on the little signature doodle. So I mean, we're vibing. Don't get me wrong.
What was the imagery on the signed posters? I haven't seen a picture of one.
It was the
was it like the Dude York City one?
Yes, it was. And for those who are watching the live stream, I'm about to uncuff it for the first time since bringing it home. I don't even know if this is mine or if it's Art Dude's, but yes, it is the Dude York City, but it says Complex Con, custom a dish.
Ooh.
So
I see.
This is the, I got one unsigned copy, so good to know. Oh, But Eitan, what else went down in Miami? What other crazy ish did you get into?
Pudgy was really fun. Pudgy was really, really fun.
Oh, yeah.
So you're a Lil Pudgy holder, correct?
Yeah, I'm a Lil Pudgy.
How is it feeling right now to be a Lil Pudgy?
I mean, it's great. It's really great. I want to see where it goes next. Like, I'll tell you, they had arcade machines at the event, and I was just playing with it the whole time. It wasn't like fully functionable with games, but like there were like ramps and stuff, and someone who played like a lot of like Skate 3, a lot of surfing and Counter-Strike. I was just like having fun moving the Joy-Con, like sledding with the penguin. And I'm like, damn, this is really fun. And then Luca, this guy, the way he speaks is that he stood there, like the line. Like when I got there, I was getting like PTSD of Genesis Factory in New York City. Everybody was in the fucking line, nice. Right? but he came out, like Luca and a bunch of the team came out and was just greeting every single holder. Like while they were online for like a good like 30, 40 minutes before, as the event, like people were coming in. So I thought that was a beautiful touch.
No, I've heard that. I've heard that repeated too. Like, yeah, like Luca greeted everybody. That was so cool. So were you in NFT NYC during the Pharrell keynote, Tom?
I sure was. That was in the Palladium in Times Square. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So you would have a kind of unique perspective in that regard as someone who was at both events. How would you compare like the energy, the vibe, the kind of attitude at both of those events?
Very on par to each other. Like after New York City, I'm like, damn, Doodles, like this is it. Like, wow. When you had Pharrell come up on like the screen, it was like, welcome Doodles, that, the whole like keynote, the DAC, Julian coming out. Like that was epic. That was epic. I mean, Pudgy didn't go all out like that. Like when he didn't have like the Chainsmokers come out.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it felt more of like a very homey, like the community just was like everyone was very nice to each other. They sort of like got the vision. A lot of just like activations, like claw machine. There's like a makeup artist on site, open bars, food. The sentiment, I think, was like the same. I think just peak euphoria for both.
So now, because they were hitting an all-time high, pumping like crazy.
Right.
There was that whole like, oh, is there a token? Cool Times fucking mics him in the face. He's like, there's not a token today. But I like, and we were just talking in the beginning. Normally during a conference, shit dumps. That's just normally what happens. But like this was kind of like coming out of all this, slow traction, and then it started picking up. And being somewhere where it's like, hey, we've never been doing better. I mean, that must have been pretty special. I definitely wish I was there to witness that.
Yeah, a lot of people like I just talked to like people who are like OG Pudgies, like even before I guess Luca bought the project, which was actually really funny. Actually, very funny. BitBoy was there.
Yeah, I saw some of those.
That was crazy. That was crazy. I was like, damn. And I lost my train of thought after I said BitBoy. That was too funny for me.
Well, the reason I ask is, it's so hard to kind of talk about other projects without seeming like, oh, you're comparing, or, oh, there can only be one winner and one loser. Like, but I think it is interesting because I think, we have pretty short attention spans, or maybe short memories in this space, or both, to be fair. And I think, people saw this event and they're like, oh my gosh, this is it. Pudgy's running to 20, flipping bassy, let's go. Like, and I think maybe we can even look at our own experience and not to say like, hey, like not to harsh everyone's vibe, but say like, hey, that may not play out like that. You know what I mean? Like you guys could be here 18 months later and, maybe the pacing was a little bit less aggressive than you thought it was going to be. So I think it's just worth noting that the timelines for this are probably a little bit longer than people expect. And so I would just, I don't know. It's weird. I don't want to come out as a wet blanket. Does that make sense?
I'm going to put some fuel onto the fire. I hope that Pudgy Penguins hits 20 ETH really fast. Like really, really fast. Because people talk about that. Like if you try to compare different projects of like what thresholds they kind of like, what's it called when the charts come back? Like it goes up, then it comes back. It retraces.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Like they retrace, right? It goes up to 12, comes back down, consolidates around 10.5. But to be fair, I think what we saw last bull market was brand new projects, right? Like people were just buying stuff because it was there. Like maybe that was like when the roadmap was the meta, where you maybe like got to see like a singular infographic that showed like 4 phases and like a couple bullet points under like what they were planning to do, which if it didn't deal with Decentraland or what was the other one?
Sandbox.
If
you're not going to Sandbox,
you probably weren't going to make it, right?
Yeah.
But now where I think Luca's only had like a year at the helm or something. It's been doing a pretty good job, right? I don't think that like anything that he's done since that he's touched that project has gotten like people angry that were in the community, right? Like once, like first he pulled them out of, the ashes a little bit. But it has just been seeming to really assemble a team that's working together. And I think people understand what they're doing. So you would hope, and this is my thing, like, why do I want them to go to 20 ETH really fast? One, just because it's fun to watch people make money. I think it's so much fun, right? I like them. I know my friends have Pudgy Penguins, so like run it up. Also, just I like to see success. I think it's going to help them with a pitch deck to come to somebody and say like, hey, our floor price is, $45,000. But I think the other part is that the space has tended to, and you always say this, rewards ambiguity and punishes execution. And that, sucks, in my opinion. It doesn't make sense. It's ass backwards. And that kind of goes to that tweet that 8270 put at the top. Even just amongst like holders and teams, there is like a really weird thing, like how critical people hold them, where it's just like sometimes like if something works, I'd like to say like that they should be, they should get the credit where it's due. And in this space, I think like number go up is the way that's measured.
Sure.
Right?
No, and you're right. And you're right that we have traditionally as a space rewarded ambiguity and punished specificity, delivery, execution, all that stuff, which is, to be fair, is ass backwards. And that's why
that sucks. Yeah. Like if I was doing good at something and someone was like, "You're punished, you suck. Go jump off a bridge," I'd be like, well, damn.
Well, and
sucks.
I felt bad. I was like in the group chats the night of the Pudgy announcement, and I was like, and it's a terrible place to come from, to be fair, but I was like, oh, they just drew their line in the sand. They said that Pudgy world is, the future of Pudgies, and so that this is where the direction they're heading. They really refined and gave some clarity to the roadmap, not like Frank DeGods, clarity, but gotta throw a little shade from time to time. But
Frank is moving back to Solana.
No, don't. Wait, no, not really, right?
Yeah, fuck it. Season 20.
Season 25. Moves back to Solana at the top of Solana. Just like, no. But to even give some additional context to that, which is interesting too, because we gotta address the elephant in the room. Lots of tweets coming out about Poopy and Evan. And Beanie, who would have thought? Beanie,
a market maker, a market maker nonetheless.
Beanie, pump the sugar down. So Beanie and I guess Pons from the Plague were, I guess, having some discussion, and Beanie actually had some interesting insight. It was basically like the only thing certain in NFTs is like all founders will end up hated, and I was like, wow, like that's kind of a profound statement from Beanie, but also kind of true. And so it's to kind of start this conversation like, oh, what founders have maybe, eluded this kind of fate? People throw out like maybe Wob, but even he's not totally, like avoided that completely. And so, so I look at someone like Luca and like, it's tough, like, because we are such in this new space. And so it's tough to look at someone and be like, oh, they're going to see this through. They're going to make it, and this is the thing about the specificity and delivery piece as well, is for each successful delivery, it seems to add additional pressure to the next delivery, right? It seems like it's like having a perfect record in sports, right? For each game that you win and you go without a loss, each game has more and more pressure. And that's what I see kind of happening with Pudgies. Now, to add a layer of complexity on top of that, Doodles post NFT NYC didn't have NFT finance, didn't exist yet, right? So that's lending, borrowing, perpetuals, fractionalization. And what that can do is add increased speed to the volatility of prices. So we very well could see Pudgies run at 20, rapid rate, but it could fall just as quickly, if not more violently, because the efficiency of the speculative markets.
Well, like you're saying, I'll try to address a couple points of those. I mean, one part with you're talking about like blend loans or taking out liquidity against your NFTs. That still opens an opportunity for people to make money on those fluctuations.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
Yeah, but I think part of that, I don't know. I think with a floor price comes prestige. Like if you hit certain thresholds, people are just like, whoa. I mean, like you tell me you haven't looked at Pudgy Penguins this week and been like, all right, some of these look kind of sick now.
Yeah. It's called a Veblen good, I think, which is like the higher price is, the more that something looks good. Like that meme of where it's like 0.5, 1 ETH, 3 ETH, whatever. Like it's called a Veblen good. Like that was the whole thing with Bored Apes. It's like at 100 ETH or whatever the floor price was. People are like, this ape IP is really top shelf. I mean, it's just you could slap that shit on anything and it would move because it's just so compelling.
Yeah.
It's just
so I think there's something to say there. I push back on your concept of like, oh, Pudgies has more pressure on them each time that they do something right. I would say that what any brand or company, team, whatever you want to call it, needs is momentum, right?
And what I will say,
energy.
You're right.
They've got that.
What I will say is that, though Luca has that kind of, confidence, he doesn't necessarily have that arrogance, which that's where it's like maybe Frank, like for each W, he would kind of be like, bring it on, world motherfuckers.
We're the fucking best.
Yeah. And so that kind of compiled and then you have people kind of waiting in the wings for your failure. I will say that Luca has avoided that. I think from, people kind of say he's like a nice guy.
That's what's been like the meme going around is like that screenshot of Evan in the Discord being like, the next Doodles Mint's going to be the sickest thing ever. And it was like Genesis boxes, which is like, at this point, people were like, oh, I spent half an ETH on something. You're right. Like, what does it do? So if you can just say like, yes, people will look for receipts, right? That was a year and a half ago. But that's like the top of my, like, where is the Doodles FUD today? It's that one.
Yeah.
Right. I think right now everyone's like, where's Poopy? Where's Evan? Like, people are just like calling him out, like tweeting like, hey, where are you? Like, I'm switching my profile picture because they've left us. Right. So I think that's interesting. I think maybe from like I don't know, even just think like parents and kids, like if people are throwing a fit, do you think like the parents are going to give in? Like, right. Like, are they going to be like, hey, sorry, like shit, we've been living under a rock? Or is it dead air?
Yeah, it's tough. I was saying this earlier, and I think if I could kind of, and it's funny that we're like talking about founders because I'm like, it kind of feels, what's the word I'm looking for? Like childish in a way. You know what I mean?
Sure.
You know,
we are running the gamut at this point, but
hey, we're man children, so it's fine. But I think, and I was saying this earlier in a chat, and I'll do my best to articulate this. And I think the core of that kind of like founder FUD really comes from, and this is kind of hard to put into words, which makes it difficult, is that, Web3 had this promise of kind of being like punk rock, of being kind of anti-establishment, and that you could build with the founders, you'd kind of be in the trenches together. And so and especially compound that with an environment where a disappearing founder means rug, like those two things are synonymous. Like when your founder, who you have these like, parasocial relationship, to be fair, or a real social relationship, depending on your connection, like when they disappear, and it kind of smells like, oh, they just got their bag and fucked off. Like that stings, right? And that just stinks, right? I think that's probably the core of that.
Well, because right now, like, let's look at what people get at this point. Like,
and I'm not saying I agree, but I think that's the sentiment.
But let's be fair though. Like, I'm gonna entertain this conversation, right? I mean, I have nothing but love and respect for everybody on the team, but like, I just have to, consider.
Hey, we're the tip of the spear. Let's go,
like,
baby.
What communication do we get from them? They retweet the tweets on Doodles. So like, they do exist. They do have their Twitter accounts, or somebody has access to them.
It would almost be better off if they didn't do that.
and they retweet them. I mean, I have the notifications on for them.
I know, right? So do I.
So and they're not in the Discord. So I think what people had mentioned, was it last episode? I think maybe it would be interesting to understand like what their roles are now.
Right.
Because the team has gotten big and they've built a web, like they've definitely built it out really well. Just in terms of, picking good people. But
sure,
I think people are wondering like, hey, how does this whole thing work? I mean, maybe just some of us care about that, but I think I don't know, like if one of your close friends just like stopped talking to you for no reason, wouldn't you kind of just be like, hey, what the fuck?
Sure. 100%.
I'd be like, hey, what's the deal? What did I do?
100%. And I think there's been a lot of people who, and myself included, like signed on to the project because like I watched these, podcast interviews with Evan and Poopy, and I was really impressed with their kind of Web3 acumen and where they saw the future of entertainment and IP and how the blockchain played into that. And based on their history with CryptoKitties, however you feel about that or not, I do think it's revolutionary in its own right. I was like, man, I want to hitch my wagon to these guys. I align with their ethos. And so when they went away, it was like, do we still rock that way? Is that our ethos still? And now we have these new team members, and I don't know their ethos. Good, bad, indifferent. That's the truth, right? It's like I love Squinch, but I don't know how Squinch feels about the blockchain. I don't know his history with Web3. I don't know. Well,
right, because like you're saying, let's be fair. Yeah, like Jordan and Evan are like public figures in the Web3 scene, sure, and in gaming and in just as a developer.
Sure.
And like you said, I think that was like the cred, like if with this whole that whole time there was like Undocs founder, like, you know, like you were saying, were you saying that today? Like, oh, if somebody has a LinkedIn and people are like, oh, sick, like this is legit,
the golden days.
You know, like this is so legit. Yeah. Whereas like they were coming out like a docs team, people knew who they were, they had a reputation. And yeah, maybe like the other people on the team right now, like aren't in the scene, right? Or like they're not OGs in the Web3 scene.
Well, and you know what, and just to kind of, I don't want to spend our entire
no, but I think like I think it's important to look at.
Right. But I think that this may be an important point of recognition is maybe we find ourselves in this kind of awkward period, right? Like I look at something like, okay, this is going to be the worst fucking analogy. Portal coin, baby. I'm not tagging them, so I don't get any points for this. But like Portal coin on the daily is putting out tweets about like, oh, we have this person from Rockstar Games. We're teaming up with this, L2. We're doing this. So like pre-mint, early project mint, those associations, those people are incredibly important to give your project credibility, right? Like in that way. Then, and for us, it was a similar thing with Doodles, right? Burnt toast included. Now we find ourselves in this kind of awkward period where we haven't had that delivery yet, right? There may become a period 6 months from now when studios, not in beta, where the studio speaks for itself, right? We understand where the project is going. We understand the product because it can speak for itself. We don't care who's building the damn thing because it works. It speaks for itself. We can understand how it's connected to Web3 and what it means, and the personalities don't matter at that point, maybe.
Yeah, like I think it's that maybe not as like broad as, like how Moonbirds was like, hey, we're the art collectors PFP. Like I'm just gonna say like the two of us, I think we're pretty high on the like, oh, we try to like absorb as much information about this ecosystem as we can. But if I put a gun to your head and said in 2 sentences, what is Doodles? What are they doing?
Ooh.
Quickly, off the top of your head. Don't even think.
Blockchain entertainment.
Hard. Okay, but see, you didn't have a good answer.
Yeah.
Blockchain entertainment. That's if the top 200 people don't know that, how are they going to tell other people about it?
Yeah, and I'm going to try to revisit that. Now there's not a gun to my head, right? But
yeah.
But that's the thing too, is Austin has been saying like he wants to make it Sesame Street simple, right? It's Ink Tank. I'll use you as an example. Chef Tony's Treats, right? Oh my gosh, so funny. I was telling people what you're doing and I'm excited for it. And I was like, yeah, there's Chef Tony's Treats. I know what it is. And they're like, oh, what is it? And I'm like, oh, well, it's like a
that elevator pitch is
I was like, it's
super
like
important.
I was like, it's like a bar. And they're like, oh, like a breakfast bar. And I was like, no, not quite, but it's a treat. Like, and so that was really funny. And I meant to come back to you with this feedback. Like, we need to get like a 2 sentence, we need to get a 1 sentence pitch on Chef Tony's Treats. Maybe I already have one, but it's just funny. So I think that Sesame Street simple.
I love that idea. Like, that's a great concept.
Right.
And when it can be done like that, that is, I think, like how word of mouth really travels well. Because unless you come across somebody that's like an absolute nerd, they're not going to really absorb it.
Well, and that's why, you give me 5 minutes and I'm like, all right, check this out. Like, your doodle is going to be in the studio. And then if you have a Doodles avatar, then, and you're interested in making content, then since it's already motion rigged, you can make user generated content out of it. And then maybe your doodle could be its own celebrity. And then maybe you can monetize that. And then, but that creates a flywheel between you and the brand. And then now everybody went like,
then you're just doing a revenue share to the community led treasury.
And then there's this incubator. There's $5 million. But as opposed to
the only way is you must have an OG doodle, which is
you have to have an OG
then there's
doodle.
A council.
You have to have an OG doodle,
members on the council,
which is different than an avatar, right? But and that's where maybe that's maybe one of the things that Luca is doing right. Is Luca's being in a lot of spaces and he just keeps it simple, right? He's like memes, IP, toys, game, and it's just like, okay, that makes sense. I can get behind that.
Nice. I can count that on one hand.
Granted, do I think that's a necessarily stronger strategy than Doodles? And I'm sure they have different aims. So that, once again, not to compare. I think I personally like the Doodle strategy hence why I'm still here.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I would just say right before I dap up Maeve, I think the thing that I'm excited, and you're wondering, well, why do you want Pudgy Penguins to go to 20 ETH? I want Pudgy Penguins to go to 20 ETH because I personally believe that what Doodles is sitting on is like has way more strength than what Pudgy Penguins is sitting on. Ooh. And I'm not to discredit that. I just think that they're like in different fucking leagues, right? So I just think they are. And people are so excited right now about what Pudgy Penguins is doing because they can do shit fast and they can be quick. And people are like, how the fuck do they do it, right? And maybe scale will catch up in funding, but I think that I mean that's just my bet. I think that
let me make an analogy. Let me make an analogy for you. The means of production, love that. The means of production. But so an analogy here, this is something that I've been discussing with some friends is Solana. And so maybe this is kind of conceptualizing here, like Solana versus Flow, right? We're, death by comparison, but who gives a fuck? We're just comparing everything because we're degens. We're degens. We're going to make comparisons. So the thing is, so Solana, I'm looking at like Solana v Flow, Solana versus Flow, which might actually be a weirdly good comp to Pudgies versus Doodles, right? No Flow pun intended here. Solana is having a hot moment right now. It's all good. I think the Solana market cap is like 27 times the Flow market cap, right? 27 times, 27x the market cap. Keep in mind, Flow has deals with Ticketmaster, NFL, MLB, NBA, Disney again, Star Wars, also Disney. Like Flow has the kind of like deal flow, no pun intended, that other blockchains would die for, right? But somehow is in a similar, don't quote me on this, but imagine like similar scalability, TPS, things like that, probably better decentralization than Solana, but valued 27x lower. Like, and so I think it's, and this is the interesting thing is for Flow, this is something that I recently discovered. I thought I was late to Flow. I was like, yeah, they've been around the block for a while. Like I'm late. The more and more I talk to people, like, no, we're early to Flow. Like, and I know that's kind of a strange thing to conceptualize, but so I maybe look at Doodles in a similar way. Like the raw materials are, we're not going to compare. They're really, really good, and I think that's what you're getting at, Tony. The raw materials are really, really good.
Yes. Like, and maybe like if I could just retrace what I was saying, I wasn't trying to dunk on anything.
Do a little retrace.
But I, like you said, I think that there's like a lot of precious resources that are being like whatever, people are in the hunt for them. And I think that patience is a virtue, right? I mean, if you can't wait, floor it. Go ahead, paper hand it.
Okay,
I dare you.
I love that Florida and GTFO made it onto the Jack Butcher Ferrari. I was like, we have transcended culture.
And Wab said the same thing. Like, it's just a sentiment that people wish, like, that it's a concept, right? Like, oh, you're annoying. Get out of my face. Leave alone then. Like, leave me alone. Don't come to my restaurant if you don't want to be in my restaurant.
Well, I think it takes some like intellectual honesty. I almost tweeted out this little saucy bit earlier, but I reserved it, and now I'm saying it out loud. So it's all good. Like, I think it's okay to have conviction if it's just based on like hope and belief. That's perfectly acceptable. But I think that's where like we struggle as a society. No, but just like as a Web3 space is to like truly understand our own motives and like why we hold convictions. Like, and so I think just if your conviction is just hope and belief, that's fine. Just like be intellectually honest enough to say that, that's fine too. Or if it was like purely speculative, that's fine too. Just like be intellectually honest enough to say that as well. Don't know what point I was trying to make there, but there was one, I swear.
I guess that you're just talking about conviction.
Yeah, so, you mentioned the floor and GTFO thing, right? So that's just like, that's a really good kind of measuring stick, right? Like, am I convicted? Do I want to stay around? If so, why? Asking yourself in life why probably 5 times a year is not a bad idea.
Well, yeah, it's just important, like you said, do an inventory on your values.
Yes.
Like, is that still, people change, things change, right? But having a thesis and sticking to it, that's maybe like a way to talk about conviction in action, right? You're saying, my thesis is that this company or brand will do that, or that this is my group of people, or that this diversification of my portfolio over a 5-year period. Well, like once you start to set those kind of goals and time horizons, then you stop stressing.
Well, yes, thesis is important. It's almost like having values in life. But I think we need to seek to understand the other side, right? And I think that's where there's a miss, right? Is people who are speculators, which is fine, which I'm like, just to say this, right? It's like we look at the OG crew, right? The OG mentors.
Degens.
Yeah. Who the hell do you think they were? Like the people who are willing to chuck thousands of dollars, degenerate gamblers, and we're expecting them to behave like boarding school students. It's like our expectations are out of whack here.
Man. Yeah, that's true.
And so that's fine. Like, speculation fueled the capital for a lot of the space. That's fine. Those people, I think, struggle to understand believers, and believers struggle to understand speculators, right? And so they clash. Right? Believers are like, why don't you just believe? And they're like, I'm not in the business of belief. Like I'm in the business of increasing my own profit, and that's fine, and then, but it goes in reverse too. People who are in it for speculation, are like, what are you hanging on for, brother? Like, get out of Dodge, read the writing on the wall. The charts don't lie. Now, what I will say is it's not as black and white as that too. It's probably a spectrum, to be fair. You could be a believing, speculator or whatever. But I think making an effort to kind of seek to understand rather than be understood, right? To borrow from the St. Francis prayer, is probably a good trait to have if you want to mend some fences, if you will.
Maeve.
Is my volume clear? Just test it.
Oh yeah,
we can hear you all good.
Okay, all right, guys, you just like went on, man. I just trying to think what to talk about now, but I agree with Chef about the Pudgies thing. Like I'm not like biased to Pudgy or anything, but I think we just need momentum, right? This space, NFT land, we need momentum, and this momentum is much needed. Though I feel I'm also very grateful, and I hope like he won't just like suddenly, we were gonna raise fund, but then we decided to do Pudgies opens, like some shit like that. I really hope not, because like I think I don't know if you know this, but like obviously GameFi is like the trend now, and I see like many game developers, they're kind of just like, okay, we have a game, we gotta rush quote unquote game with a token. It's like that's the plan. Next 3 months, let's do this, and everybody's just like FOMOing and like crazy, like bull market vibes are like low key back a little bit, right? I'm pretty certain, everybody's like, yeah, we're back. And I guess like us being not leaving the space at all, kind of just like going through this cycle or this period of time where we just like, okay, it's very interesting to revisit what we felt, during like the multiple, little bears and the little bulls. It's just kind of like my 2 cents. But speaking about, I think we're talking about conviction and I think like just persistence. I think earlier this week or probably last week. So Grilled.eth, he was I think he wrote a post, right? He was like, talking about opportunity costs,
yes,
this and that, and then surprisingly he got shit quite a bit, which is super weird. And I just want to put it out there. It's like talking about opportunity costs, educating people, but he gets shit on, which is I don't know what to comment about it.
Make it make sense, yeah.
No, Maeve, thank you for adding that, because that brings me back. And thanks for joining us, by the way. Maeve is one of our brethren from the Rug Radio Asia Alliance who joins us for our Silk Road show bi-weekly. Maeve is great, has a lot of insights into the Asian market and beyond. So thanks for joining us, Maeve. But to your point, yeah, that Grail.eth post, this concept of deep liquidity, which I've just been discussing for the past couple of days, actually came from a quote tweet of that post, which this person was saying the efficient NFT finance markets will provide deep liquidity, which can help relieve some of that pressure of opportunity cost, because people won't have to sell, right? Because that's the thing. It's like if the market is binary, if it's only buy and sell, you're constantly having to be like, fuck, do I cut bait and sell this NFT and leave this community, maybe this NFT that I kind of like, but I need liquidity to go do other things in this space because it's always moving, and and everything costs money in this space, like to participate. And so it's really tough, especially if you're an emotional whale and you got one NFT in this project. What do you do? You know, and that has a super high opportunity cost. And so, yeah, I remember that post really well. And that's why I'm very excited for many more opportunities to get liquidity answer tokens so that that decision won't be as hard to make for people and they can maybe enjoy this bull run a little bit more, to be fair. So I appreciate you bringing that up.
Man, and at the same time as I want to see Pudgy's rip to 20 ETH, I want to see Mochaverse hit 10 ETH. Dude, Mocha is cooking right now. Cooking. It was like...
Is it 4.2?
Shoot. It was like a month ago. It was like 0.7. Last week it was 2. Today it's 4.2. What in the world? If only somebody had been telling us about that all along.
What the hell? You know, nobody gave us this alpha, you know? And what I will say too, and especially the alpha nobody gave us, is get a Mocha ID, get realm points, you know, in the Mocha universe. No one told us that. No one had told us that. So you heard it here.
It was right under our nose.
If only.
Yo, Chef.
Yep.
I'll show you guys a little bit, right? Because I've been planning for a RaidCon. So I've been diving deep into AVAX, and you guys know about Pluto Misfits, right? So in the land of AVAX, there's something called Tokyo World. I think probably some of the whales are like, I guess like the top whales probably already.
Spell the beginning of it.
Yeah. DOKYO. Tokyo World.
All right.
So similar vibes to Polygon's Pluto Misfits.
Yeah. So I feel so. I haven't really dived fully deep about it, but it seems kind of evident, you know, like the team really gives me like the San Fran Tokyo vibes. And I think if it's got that kind of caliber, I definitely will be diving a little bit more into it. Do not know whether, well, I feel like there's going to be a token at some point because like AVAX is like a meme token land, man. There was like Cock from like Chicken, shout to Sherlock, right?
Yep, Cocky New. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
That one is ripping.
You know it's bull market vibes when international AVAX token alpha has creeped into the ink tank. Oh my gosh. Or hopeless
well, maybe because it's just me, right? I'm just like multi-chain, you know. It's just me. I'm just like dabbling around, playing my cons, right? You know, so I was like, okay, deep diving. And I was like, oh, that's a lot right here. And I was like, okay, all right. But yeah, I definitely will be diving deep into that. But I mean,
awesome.
Right now, it's still at like 1.2 ETH floor price, which is not little. I mean, if you think about it, it's definitely not little. And today, actually is ripped. Yeah. So.
Yeah, for anybody listening, would definitely recommend giving Maeve a follow. In addition to, you know, being a multi-chain connoisseur, and being a co-host of Silk Road, you have a couple of shows of your own with Puka Rainbow. Those guys have been kind of OGs in the space for a long time. So definitely give them a follow. Sorry to keep giving you flowers, Maeve. I just think you're cool. So want to make sure people are giving you a follow.
Well, yeah, I see them. I see they're at like 54 AVAX floor right now. It's like $2,500.
See, this is how you know, we are so back. I'm like, AVAX, fuck, I gotta bridge some coins over there. I'm like, I'm behind the 8 ball already. Like, hey. It's awesome. I will.
Dude, the bull market's back. I don't know if you checked the charts, but we're green.
Speaking of bull market, and this is DeFi, we're allowed to talk about on Ink Tank because, it's all in the family. And 8270 made a tweet about this earlier. And I've been kind of singing the praises publicly and privately about Flow DeFi. So, there's a platform called Increment Fi, which allows you to do kind of DeFi staking, all kinds of other.
Are they dropping a token?
Hey, I've seen some
Do
tweets.
they have a token yet?
I've seen
would be the
some
better
tweets.
Question.
No, they don't have a token. I've seen some tweets from Flow builders who are saying, they're like, wouldn't it be crazy if there was a token? And I'm like, you guys.
All right. So I got to farm that one. Yeah.
Lives, you gotta give me more alpha about Flow, man. I know Flow is ripping because they do a lot of I think Rarible launches collections on Flow, and like I did the numbers, man. It's not little, it's a lot. It's a lot. Dude,
that's what I'm saying is like, I think that that Solana has a 27 times greater market cap than Flow is a disservice to
They
Flow.
have 100 times price almost too.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I think it's a disservice to Flow. And I think that, as we like to say here, it's my favorite saying, slowly, then all at once, So slowly, then all at once, if you will.
So, I mean, what Flow's under $1 right now? I think their highest price was like $30.
Really? That was the all-time high?
That was the all-time high. So
wow.
if you're looking at that from the Solana charts, I mean, that's what.
Now, if you want to know some
30x
Flow,
on Flow.
If you want to know some Flow lore, there was a shit coin on Flow called Loppy or money sign Loppy, which is like sloppy. And if you watch that sketch comedy show that's like slop them up, like it's that. And so they have a great community. There's also something that I'm, okay, I'll just share my idea. I'll share my idea publicly. There's this thing called Toucan DAO, which you can launch.
Toucan DAO. What's up with the exotic birds and DAOs?
Hey, flamingo. But that's probably actually a play on that. I never quite picked up on that till just now. So thank you. But you can launch a DAO and a token, like no gas, like anything like that. It's a really interesting concept on Flow. So I've been playing around with this idea for a while. And I think it would be really interesting if we had a wearables, but I discussed it with some other people, a digital fashion DAO on Flow. And so, but it'd be kind of like a closet, like almost like Rent the Runway. So as a DAO member, you would have your pass, you'd have your tokens, yada, yada, yada. Maybe you could pay in those tokens to rent wearables for events, things like that. Obviously, this is like way future metaverse stuff that seems kind of silly now, but it's just something interesting. And knowing that you could do it on Flow is pretty cool.
Well, then I'd be like, hey, Maeve, can I borrow your Yeezys? What size are they? And then you're like,
I mean, yeah, that's kind of
it's
the
on
idea.
Flow, dude. We don't have sizes. It's one size fits all.
That's kind of the idea, Seems crazy now, but
What if that was a thing? Like, you had to choose your avatar's sizes, and then you'd have to similar to that the Sambas thing. You have to trade around, be like, oh, I got a size 12 in my crock box, and you're like, fuck.
I'm just saying
my avatar is a size 11.
The Rent the Runway thing. So we're all wearing basketball shorts and NFT hoodies, but what happens when you show up to your event? Maybe you scan your doodad and your doodle appears on the Jumbotron at the party, and who doesn't want to flex? So one of one BT wearable, as they enter the party. I'm just saying it could happen.
Absolutely.
Rent the Runway.
And I think at least one of the things that, if there was one thing that I wanted to share, which would be remiss, we had a new animation come out today.
Yes.
That was called Liquid Mellow. And it kind of reminds me of, do you know Rube Goldberg devices?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, if I could just explain what a Rube Goldberg device is, it's like you start with a marble and people set up these crazy contraptions. The idea is
Domino's meets Dude Perfect.
That if that made it better for anybody, it didn't make it better for me. But nonetheless, it's got like a Rube Goldberg in like a chemistry lab, and we also got some alpha from Ingy. He dropped this, like, I guess the initial like black and white sketch version of it. So we just wanted to give our flowers to Tim at Golden Wolf.
Well, and I had a cool discussion with Ingy about it in the chat, because I'm a little bit of like an animation nerd. And because I asked him, once he posted that full screenshot, I was like, oh, whoa, like, so the whole scene was one large illustration, and you basically had a virtual camera that moved itself throughout the scene. And I was like, that's just really interesting, because I watch there's a channel called Corridor Digital. They've traditionally done 3D animation, but they've been doing a lot of episodes with a lot of the classic Disney animators, kind of breaking down classically animated Disney scenes. It's fascinating, to me at least. And so kind of diving into the back end here, I was like, whoa, use a virtual camera, and it makes the scene, because they could have just posted the scene in the broad view, right? It would have been much less dynamic. But now they can create like vertical short form content and that helps maintain the continuity. I don't know. So I just thought it was really cool. It was really interesting to see the behind the scenes.
That is super awesome. Because I was, I guess, like, now trying to think through it. Yeah, like, how in the world would you know what that little scene would look like? I guess technically, if it was a scene and you could zoom on it, it felt like it was all part of one scene. So I guess it technically was.
Yeah, and that's just what you can do with like digital 2D animation. To be fair, versus like hand drawn. Like you could have larger scenes, and then like I don't know. I could go on for hours about that. But that was very cool. I like that animation a lot, and it once again kind of reinforced the idea that kind of matter is malleable, and maybe we're all all objects are made up of this doodly matter, because at one point you saw Mello break down into multiple pieces of kind of doodly matter, or dupe-ish matter in the test tube. So pretty interesting stuff.
It was a very fun one, and it was a lot longer than usual. I think it was like 18 seconds.
Yeah,
and
20,
it was like
20 seconds, something like that. Yeah.
It was cool. I think also maybe some other just like dubs. We had the new sticker pack come out on Giphy. It was like
the Mello sticker pack.
The Mello pack,
dude.
And then from a stats point of view, they're ripping. Like I think some of them have hit already 100 million views on Giphy.
Cats are meta. That's just like a thing. Cats are cool. I'm not even a cat person, to be fair, but I did use one of the Mello gifts to sign off from a Teams meeting. I was like, gotta run, bye bye. Use like the waving Mello sticker, which got some likes from the staff. So felt good about that. Subterfuge.
Yeah. Maybe if there's anything right now, I think we're seeing a lot more like Mello main character vibes.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. We should have always known.
I'm curious. Does Mello know how to talk?
Oh, that's interesting. Like, at some point, does Mello just speak? like,
hey, what's up, Doc? Like Bugs Bunny, or is it more like Tom and Jerry that don't talk?
I mean, we still don't even know if Half speaks, to be fair. My impression would be that Mello would kind of be more expressive and kind of use that
Mello
as
speak Chinese.
You're right. Yeah. Maeve making a play like, hey, Cantonese, Mandarin, like, hey, just saying, language of the future. Might as well hop on board. So funny. That's awesome. But I do get the sense that Mello kind of is super expressive. Like some of the animations, like when Hap tries to pet Mello, and then she goes like, and like bends around. Like you could just do a lot of storytelling just visually. So
yeah, that's one of those, again, like, if you're just trying to sign up stuff, I think that initiative that they're doing at Golden Wolf, Take Your Medicine.
Yeah.
The original sounds that they've been creating.
Dude,
that must be so much fun.
We need a full version, if it fits a sits banger dubstep remix. We need it.
Yeah, I wonder if we could get Marv involved. Like Marv, he's a DJ. He's like part of this group called Two Sons.
Threw down a remix. Come on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if Magic Mullet was around, I would hit him up.
It would make a great drop, dude. If it fits, yeah.
I'm telling you, I think it's a lot of fun. I always say that about my cat. Khaleesi just randomly planks in different places without permission. I bet Chris down there understands too. I know he has lots of cats. Hey, Tom, what's up?
So I was thinking, So I was thinking that, like you said, the cat stickers and stuff. I noticed that they're only doing like Hap and Mello. Like, do you remember that they would release use other people's doodles for stickers? Do you think like going forward, it's only going to be like Hap and Mello? Like, there's not going to be like a coffee head sticker or like Dude Lift sticker, like E-Town sticker, Kuya Chef.
So
does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So there is already like wearable stickers as well. So like those exist. I think if you search like the doodles, maybe just on Instagram, or maybe it's more broad. Don't quote me on that one. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see if like community characters or something like that. I would imagine there would be some vehicle for that in the future, but I don't know. It's like, it's kind of a toss up, because it's like, dude,
imagine. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Imagine if there was a thing that was like, all right, enter to be one of like the, I don't know, 3 or 5 community doodles that gets animated and gets added to their Giphy. That would be sick.
See, yeah, that is definitely super interesting. Yeah, I just imagine it's pretty tough. Like
from a character development standpoint,
yeah,
I think
like do you focus all of your energy on Hap and Mello and try to get people to fall in love with them, and then trickle down from there, quote unquote? I don't know.
Because I think that's one thing that what isn't that a Pudgy Penguin thing? Like if you get there was something like where people were making like one GIF per people.
Yeah, no, they have like they have a form where you can just like submit like I want my Pudgy to do lifting weights, and they'll just like like churn it out. It's like kind of intense actually. How many of those
is it people that do that though?
I think it's a team, like part of the team. Yes, I don't think it's like a community effort, if that's what you mean.
Gotcha. No, I think that's neat. I guess like,
but
shoot, I would love an Aton GIF that was a sticker. It went like,
but that's the thing
and
though.
Ripped off.
Is like they've kind of made like the generic Pudgy in that look, and maybe because they're also similar, like, and they represent more like situations like that kind of meta. I don't pretend to be like a GIF expert, but like they have like phrases and situations, and maybe they're leveraging so many different Pudgies because they are trying to represent, like taking a shotgun approach. Like we're going to have the top GIF for like everything, you know, as opposed to stuff like the Happen Mellow stickers. It seems like they're a little more targeted, they're more specific, in more, how do I say, like interpretable. I don't know if that's a real word. I'm just making that up. But like the, you know, the different kind of expressions and things like that, they can fit a lot of things, if that makes sense. Obviously, some are more specific, like birthday cake, things like that. But even that's like more celebration. And then there's things that are a little more generic, but not in a bad way. Like, I know generic has a bad connotation, but it's more broad.
But I'd also just say like maybe the difference, like at least these ones we've seen are like face. They're all about facial expressions, and maybe hands.
And they're only the first 2 sticker packs, to be fair. So like, I'm not pretending to like draw out the whole strategy. I mean, not that I would even know anyways.
So,
like,
but nonetheless, I guess what I can extrapolate from that is that you would like a GIF of your own doodle.
So what? I mean, I think anybody would, but Aton, to answer Aton's question, seems like it.
Sorry, I was just heating up some tendies in the microwave.
Ooh, those tendies.
But yeah, no, I guess it's only the 2 sticker packs. But I was just curious because I saw some people in the Discord were like, "Where's this sticker? Where are the Wizzy stickers?" And I'm like, "Oh, I am curious."
To your point, there may be some that kind of lean, present or like make a little more sense. Like a coffee had one, you know, could totally that one might do well. You know, it's coffee. You know, as where a Wizzy one is a little more like esoteric. It's a little more like magic. Like, are people going to use that GIF a lot? You know, there may be ones that are a little more clear.
There are only 74 Wizard Doodles, and there's only like 30 coffee heads.
I'm just saying more from like if I'm a person on Instagram or on TikTok looking to put a sticker on top of my story that I'm posting, I might be more apt to be like, need my morning coffee, blah, blah, as opposed to like, you're a wizard, Harry. You know what I mean? Like, this is not.
No,
like,
no, but I'll argue on this one. Well, what if you're like, oh, magic bean juice?
Stupid. No, just no way, dude. Just no way. Like someone make an Instagram story and like, you know what? I just want a cartoon wizard to kind of like cast a spell over whatever I'm doing here. Like, that's really just going to add to my aesthetic. You know?
Like before, after, magic touch.
A full transition sticker. Yeah. It goes like, that actually might, that
one might hit.
That might hit. Yeah.
Or like the beginning or the middle of a presentation.
The Wizzy pops out and goes like, bing, in the middle of the thing. It's like, that actually might hit. Yeah. Now, what I'm interested to see is like if any of these Take Your Medicine audios start to rip. I thought if it fits, I thought that might rip. Haven't seen it. I don't know. I need to look at the numbers, but that would be kind of interesting too.
Because that's what the one thing that's unique about TikTok is that it's all about like, hey, you put out your video and then people can also just rip your audio.
Instagram does the same thing, but yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Do people do as many of those like copy pastas though?
Yes. I mean, so I think TikTok's just like a bigger, like short form vertical platform in general. People definitely do the audio thing on Instagram. There's trending audios. It's a whole thing. TikTok, I think they incentivize that a little more. People go to the for you page a little more. There's like challenges, and I think it's a little more direct to which audios are like really, really trending that you should use. But Instagram trending audios is certainly a feature as well.
Yeah, I think like just for how many people have cats, like that audio should be a copy pasted one.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Was it you that did the video of your dog with it?
Yeah, I did. I tried to steal it.
When I saw that, I was like, this is funny. Like, I could really imagine people like taking
I wanted to show that, hey, dogs can rock it too. It's not just for cat people.
So. Yeah, it was funny. It was almost, I mean, your dog almost looked like kind of like a Great Dane, trying to be a lap dog.
Yeah. Like, yeah, totally. But my dog is like part cat, to be fair. So it kind of makes sense. She sits in all kinds of weird places. Speaking of that.
So I guess we're going to rug this pretty soon. I guess I just give a quick Chef Tony's Treats update at least.
Ooh, let's do it.
So I have a pretty exciting bit that the Chef Tony's Treats cart is finally finished and in hand. I got like the wood countertop built. I got it all powder coated to match my doodle. So I ended up going with purple on the main part, yellow on the legs, and then yellow on the handle. I guess the only color I didn't incorporate was like the green, but it's subtle. Maybe I'll just do that as like little accents on packaging or something. And then I brought it over to the decal store and it's all decaled up. So it's pretty cool to be able to put this together with something that I've been working on with Art Dude for like the past, I don't know what, 2 months or so. I sent him a quick picture of it, like just sitting in my living room on the ground. I haven't built it. And he was like, whoa, that's so weird. And I was like, it's nuts, right?
Dude, like, I did a wellness check on Art Dude today because I was like, Art Dude, where you been? He's like, I've been working with Tony and working with Deep Hankster. And I was like, all right, that's fair enough. I was like,
we provide him food and air and water.
He's okay. He's safe. We swear.
And he has a cool hamster wheel too. He's active. So I should take some pictures of that soon.
Well, I will just say I've caught a little sneak peek of the cart, because as we do, and it's awesome. It's great. It looks like something that could easily, be on par with fit into Doodles activation, like there's something in the water, something like that, like just for what it's worth, the quality of the art, the construction. So I think it's going to be awesome. And I can't wait to see it in person.
Oh, in person. Yeah.
I said what I said.
That's going to be interesting. How exactly would you see it in person?
I said what I said.
Okay.
That's all I'll say.
IYKYK, as Maeve always says.
Soon TM. All will be revealed. TM.
Yeah. I basically like the next few things I got to do. I got to make us some t-shirts so we don't look like just some degenerates. And working on stuff like elevator pitch. I got packaging in and I just got the final sticker designs. So yeah, I think it's just really fine tuning and getting together like more like the presentation of like, hey people, what's this experience going to be like? So big shout out to you, Lifts, for, helping on all of those fronts. And I also found a dev. I found a full stack dev, which is pretty cool. It was totally like unsolicited, right? I just posted my last update and Super B slid on the comments and was like, hey, I'm a dev, I can help. And I was just like into those DMs like white on rice. And we've already gotten on calls and we've started talking about, like some cool ideas. Cause I'm trying to figure out like an interesting way to incorporate, like, first of all, just level up the website and design it really well. But I also want to figure out a way to incorporate blockchain, right? Like this is, born from Web3. And he came up with some really cool ideas. So there's definitely more on the digital side as well, just from like the experience. I think he's going to really help with e-commerce. So yeah, we're cooking. Just let us cook.
You love to see it. No, it's super exciting. So once again, and shout out to you and also Deep Hankster as well has been posting some updates about Toasty Co. Everyone's super excited to get their hands on some Doodles candles, so it's awesome. It's super cool.
I smell you.
I've officially got enough like Doodles merch to wear like Doodles merch most days of the week. So mission accomplished in that regard, so life is good. What more can you ask for? This is gonna be a fun one. I might have to go back and listen to this episode because I feel like we said some wild shit.
I think it's fun. Yeah. Yeah, I guess like I kind of wanted to start this episode with 8270's tweet where he was like, "Hey, sometimes this feels like a drag, or like sometimes people might be, I don't know, PvP negative, but I think there's really a lot to be thankful for, and there is a lot of there's like splendor and extravagant fun things to do. I'm really glad that Aton got to share his experience at Art Basel. I definitely missed not being able to go. I really do love getting to go to in real life events and get to like hang out with my friends. That is probably the best part about being in the space for me. But I think it kind of made me realize how important it is to intentionally, like really, really, really try to not like scuffle with people. Because it's so easy. Sometimes I see something, I'm like, oh, I just want to strangle them, like you think that. And then you're just like, but what is this going to do, right? Like, why do I need to try to go change this person's mind or whatever? So I'm definitely going to try to just like bull post and just run with my conviction hardcore.
Hey, live and let live is what they say. But what I'll say too is I think that, one of the things that people always talk about in real life events is like, oh, the vibes are so good. Like, it's so great. And, not to shell our own bags here, but like live social audio, like being on spaces, like, I think that there is something like that is really, really beneficial to doing that. I think, whenever I hear people talk about, the good old days, like, remember we used to just like vibe on spaces, bro, like 8 hours. We're not going to be in here for 8 hours a day, but like how many times have I heard someone say like, man, you remember we used to like post bullshit in Discord? Like, not that much, like, and I'm not saying that Discord doesn't have its value, but what I am saying is that like there is a truth to the whole like concept of being a keyboard warrior. You know what I mean? Things get taken out of context, messages are exchanged asynchronously, like, and that's not always a good thing. And so gathering together in like real time talking as people like probably has some benefit, and like could be healing if we got together a little bit more often.
Yeah, and I love learning from people's perspectives, right? Sometimes like I say something and I'm like, whoa, that was an ass backwards way to think of that, and that's great, right? I think there's something really special about hearing other people's points of view, and their people's positivity rubs off on each other, whether that's like, you're having a bad day, screw it, like come through, let's have a chat. So I really do like love when people want to come up and talk, because it's just like, it's all we can do is try to facilitate it and catch up.
Yes, sir. All right, everybody. Yeah, this has been Ink Tank episode 20. That's number 20. This has been awesome. Like Tony was saying earlier, if you want to, look at our ugly mugs as we're talking about this, maybe, see the person behind the PFP. We're on YouTube. We're on X as well. Oh, Tony's got a mug of his doodle that you're not seeing because you're not watching,
Yeah. Shout out to Sushi. She sent me that one.
Incredible. Love that. And so thanks for tuning in, everybody, spending your Monday night with us, especially, a little over an hour. Your time is super valuable, especially in this bull. You could be out there shitcoining on AVAX. Maybe you are, but you're also here. And so we value that. Super grateful for that. By the end of the year, we're here. There might be another doodle sesh. So, it's getting close to the end of the year. So we'll see what happens. But thank you, everybody, for coming here tonight. This is Dude Lifts, Chef Tony, TGID, everybody.
Peace.